Hey guys, this is Rick coming at you with Weed to No Basis, the podcast for all things cannabis business related. Are you an entrepreneur? Have something you wanted to create, something you wanted to bring to life in the cannabis industry? Maybe you've always wanted to partake in one of the biggest industries in modern day history. This is the podcast to listen to. Hey guys, we're back, and we're back here again in the basement of HempQ. And if you guys haven't, if you're not sure what HempQ is, remember several episodes ago, I forgot when. We have so much fun doing this. Is Chris, the producer, who's right behind the camera. He just mentioned off camera one day. He goes, "Yeah, we're on HempQ," and it kind of stuck. HempQ is actually right upstairs, so we're downstairs because we're going to get a little more official today. We're talking a little bit more about strategy in your business, and this is one of those episodes, guys. I say this a lot, but truly, where you're going to want to get a pen and paper out. You're going to want to take notes. You're going to want to hear what we're going to talk about, especially if you're a serious cannabis entrepreneur, business owner, or you're seriously considering jumping in and starting something. This is going to be the nuts and bolts. We're going to get in the weeds, basically. So thanks for joining us, guys. Remember, if you're listening, you're on a Weed to Know basis. So we're back with Scott Fritz. And we're not going to get into who he is. Go back to the other episode, or you've probably bought his book by now. And we're going to talk about pretty much what it is you're going to be delivering to the cannabis startup entrepreneur. And I have my notes here, and I know you don't, so I'm just going to talk. I'm going to kind of go over basically what these sessions are about, and then we'll dive into each one just a little bit. So session one, or quarter number one. So we're going to think about this in terms of quarters, like as an annual basis. So 4 quarters. We talk about, or you talk about, facing reality. Get to know yourself and your true passions. Defining your mission, vision, values to get focused. Adopt a strategic focus, accountability, and a priority management system. And then, honestly, here's the big one, at least what jumped out for me, is to create an annual strategic focus plan. So what does this mean when you say face reality, get to know yourself and your true passions?
Yeah, so, most of us, if we think we want to get into business, that's fine. But do we really know what we're passionate about in business? And what's interesting, Rick, is although I kind of in a way knew this, again, through the DISC profile. I don't know if you've talked about DISC before, but if you take a DISC profile, D-I-S-C, it kind of unveils what kind of drives you as an individual. And it really applies to business very well. But after I'd sold my company, what I realized, people would say, well, do you miss it? Do you miss the business? Do you miss running the business? I said, no, because what I realized is I like building things. I like building businesses. I don't necessarily like running them. I can, and I don't necessarily like being into the operations or the minutia of the business, but I like building them. Hence why I built my company, hence why I'm in angel investments. I've done 37 deals in 18 years, because I like building things. So that's where it is about face reality, get to know your passions, get to know who you really are. So during that part of the session, we're going to uncover some of those things and make sure that you're really in the spot you want to be in, that you're truly focusing on your passion.
Gotcha. And is it possible that somebody discovers they don't want to be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've had it happen at many conferences. Not so much with the people I coach, because the people I'm coaching usually have kind of already passed that litmus test. They've kind of already been there. They're either a serial entrepreneur, they've been in it long enough to know that it's for them. But a lot of conferences, I'll meet people and, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. A year later goes by and it wasn't for them. It just wasn't. So, it takes a certain type of individual, as you know, to really want to jump off that cliff without a parachute.
Nice. So then if we're painting a picture, guys, so this first quarter, or whatever quarter it is, when one attends this session, and it's about a day long.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
It's about a day long. And guys, to be clear, I've been through them. It has given me the clarity, the focus, and the plan, especially having worked with Scott before. So facing reality. So somebody decides to jump off the cliff and they're sitting here. So then the next thing they're going to go through is defining a mission, vision, and values, right?
Correct.
Why is that important?
Correct. So the mission, vision, values, to me, this is like going on a trip without a compass, right? If you don't have your mission, vision, values, or a roadmap or your iPhone to tell you where you're going, you're just wandering aimlessly. So again, great, I want to be an entrepreneur, business is for me. Now let's define my mission, vision, and values. What is this business going to be about? What is it going to attain? How am I going to filter my decisions that I make in my company? And then the vision, or what I call a vision milestone, is setting out there something you're going to achieve, an actual measurable, what I call actionable, measurable, realistic, and dated goal that you're going to achieve 3 years in the future. So when I start with companies that are brand new, we don't set out a BHAG, which would be a 10 to 20 year. We do what's called a 3HAG, or a 3-year vision. So 3 years from today, the idealized future state, I come back and I meet you in this room 3 years from today, what am I seeing? What's happened in your business? Specific measurable things that you have attained 3 years from today.
Love it. And guys, so for clarity's sake, a BHAG is called, it stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal.
Correct.
And BHAG is generally like far in the future.
10 to 20 years.
10 to 20 years. So you're talking about a 3HAG,
right,
defining in 3 years,
right,
what is the hairy, audacious goal.
Correct.
Nice.
Yep.
So, and I love it that it's like without mission, vision, values, it's like going on a trip without a compass.
Correct.
Not knowing where you're going.
Right.
So then one of the next big chunks that and again, this is like a full day.
Yep, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
9 a.m. to 4. And is the strategic focus, accountability, priority management systems, but it really boils down to create an annual strategic focus plan.
Correct.
So does that mean somebody walks out with something, a document or something written?
Correct.
Okay.
There'll be a one-page plan that outlines the top 5 things you're going to work on over the next 12 months. Each one of these priorities, by the way, these priorities will be prioritized. That's the secret sauce. It's my special little program I'll take you through to actually prioritize what's number 1, what's number 2, what's number 3, what's number 4, what's number 5. I take you through a way to get there, to understand what drives what. Each priority will have an owner. If you're here by yourself, in the session by yourself, you'll be the owners of all the priorities. If you have somebody with you, some of those priorities might be owned by that other person or the owner. Each priority will have what I call a measurable win, or a way to make sure that you're hitting the metrics that you've set out. All those measurable wins will lead you towards your vision milestone. So let's say, for example, your vision milestone is, I want to have $5 million in sales 3 years from now. Well, one of your measurable wins under one of those priorities is going to be a chunk of that 5 million. So maybe in the next year, you're going to hit 1.2. So the measurable win chunks towards hitting your vision milestone. Then under each priority, after your vision milestone, you're going to have trends to leverage. So we uncover trends that you can leverage in your business to help guide you towards achieving that priority for the year. And then finally, which is the real heavy lifting, we create 3 action steps in the next 30, 60, and 90 days that when you leave this session, you're going to go execute against to drive towards hitting your measurable win for each priority, which then drives you towards hitting your 3-year vision milestone.
Gotcha.
And that's a 1-page document, takes about 3 hours to create, and I lead the people through that.
Yep, and I've been through those sessions. I'm a believer in having that. I'm a believer in having a business roadmap. And you guys should absolutely, if you don't have a map, then where the hell are you going? So guys, I want you to take note of some of those things. 30, 60, 90 days. So we're talking about basically a quarter.
Correct.
And that's going to lead us into the next little micro session here, guys. We're going to talk about the next quarter, or basically then after the 90 days when people reconvene to come back to a Scott Fritz strategy, a cannabis business strategy session. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to keep these short and sweet. We're going to talk about what that quarter means. So remember, guys, if you're listening to this, you're going to want to take notes. It's because you're serious. It's because you're serious. You don't want to hem and haw. You want to make sure that your business is on time, on target, and on track to do the things that you want it to do. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to come right back at you with what the second quarter or the second sesh looks like. Stay tuned. If you're listening, guys, you're on a We to Know basis. Talk at you guys soon. Micro session coming at you.